Well, first two worsts figure out which is worse. And then the other two worsts figure out which is worse. And then the top two worsts fight it out until eventually you get the W-O-R-S-T-E-S-T. Worstest! Anyway, here we go.
I am a tapper.
You are a tapper. You're a terrible tapper. I don't know, maybe you're a good tapper. I don't know, but you are a tapper. Hey everybody, what's going on? This is John Dorsick with Worstest. We are doing today on Worstest Color. Bum, bum, bum. Of course, I'm here with my gorgeous other host.
Should we hug right now?
We are because we're old school. We're covered in wires, and we have beers in front of us, and we don't want to tip those over onto the electronics.
Good point. Good point.
But if we didn't, we would be hugging.
We would be hugging
We're
right now.
not
And
afraid.
really, I mean, it would be teary hugging.
Too much, and the folks don't want to hear that. Maybe they do, but you're not going to get it. Tim, you were going to say?
I was going to say we're equals.
We're equals.
We're equal hosts.
We are now, but only within an hour, we won't be equals, for there will be one person who has brought the worstest color, and that person will be crowned, or at least their color will be crowned, although we'll walk away once again as equals.
And we have a stage made with a couple of garbage cans that they can stand on top of, and we'll...
Filled with the paint of whatever color wins, and then the losers have to be painted in that color, and then they have to do all sorts of degrading things. And we'll have oh my God, that's for the Patreon. The Patreon people can give money, and whoever or whatever they decide to be the degrading act that the people who the other three hosts didn't make and are now painted in that winner's paint color, they need to be painted in that and do degrading things. But go ahead, Don.
I was going to say, so is that a sponsorship opportunity for Benjamin Moore and Glidden?
It is now. Good thinking.
Hope you're listening.
Dude, geez. Maybe there is retirement in our future. Anyway, today's topic is worst color. And let's go around in the order that we're going to go, and let us proclaim what color is gonna be the worst. Tim, what is your color?
My color, John, is institutional green.
I don't like it already. Pete, what's yours?
I don't like it either. Mine is also green. It's Shields green.
Shield.
The worst
battle
color, I might add.
A battle of the greens.
Well. Me, I'm bringing raw umber.
Ooh.
Raw umber, not burnt umber, because there is also a burnt umber. This is raw umber, and it's terrible. And
I prefer mine medium well, actually.
Scott, what do you got?
Well, I'm really throwing a wrench in the works. My color is all colors.
Bum, bum, bum. Wow. All right. I'm going to tell you a little bit about color. A very little bit, not very much.
Now, before you go on,
Please do.
And
Go.
for the edification of our listeners who in the position of not being able to see everything that's going on here, I see that you have color spelt C-O-L-O-U-R. And this must be for our British friends who are listening in.
John, can I also add that I love the hints of Earl Grey coloration in your bright shirt over there.
Right? I'm wearing... Are we just trying to give plugs to different companies now? I love it.
Well,
Yes,
Earl Grey's British.
it is. Oh, that's very true.
Next, I'm going to comment on Tim's lovely London fog raincoat that he wore here.
Pip, pip, my dear friends. Boil me a steak. I'm feeling peckish. Here's an idea. Maybe if you are, whatever you're listening to this on, maybe if you want to Google, this is what I thought you were going to say, Pete. If you want to Google institutional green, Shields green, raw umber, and of course all colors.
That may take a while.
They're very true. Just see all colors. But yeah, maybe do that if you want to add a little bit of color to your listening experience. Delightful. Anyway, without further ado, here we go. This is color from Wikipedia. I use it a lot, and I give them money. I give them, they ask for like $2.70.
Yeah, give them a little bit.
Every quarter I give them $20. It's all right. I use every 20 days I give them a quarter. Anyway, I'm kidding. But no, they're very great. You should give them money. Everyone uses it. Don't be a jerk. Anyway, color. It's the visual perception produced by the activation of the different types of cone cells in the eye caused by light. All right, though color is not an inherent property of matter, color perception is related to an object's light absorption, emission, reflection, and transmission. For most humans, visible wavelengths of light are the ones perceived in the visible light spectrum, with 3 types of cone cells. I don't know if you know we had 3 types of cone cells. What we did?
I did.
Well, someone's doing research and not just reading off of Wikipedia, like me. Other animals may have different numbers of cone cell types or have eyes sensitive to different wavelengths, such as bees that can distinguish ultraviolet and thus have a different color sensitivity range. Animal perception of color originates from different light wavelength or spectral sensitivity in cone cell types, which is then processed by the brain.
Fascinating.
And there you go. That is how we perceive color, and that's really about it.
Why don't you even mention rods? It's all about cones.
I think you know what, I should have done a little more research, but I think the cones are giving us the color. I think rods are giving us something else.
Gentlemen, I'll back you up on that towards the end of this episode.
Wow.
Because the rods do the heavy lifting when it comes to sight.
Oh,
We'll get to
wow.
that later.
Scott's letting us taste the stew an hour before it's done.
Get your finger out of that pot.
It's my pot. Awesome. So without further ado, let us dive into color. And starting us off is Tim with Institutional Green. Tim, let us sample a bit from your palette.
Thank you, John.
You're very welcome.
Yes, so I have chosen Institutional Green as the worst color. But first, a little background on it. Most people are familiar with Institutional Green. It is a color that you could often see in hospitals or, well, institutions. It began in the Victorian era, as so many things in our modern society did. And the reason was...
Usually suck.
Well, they can get dated pretty quickly. It was started for noble reasons. The Victorians believed that green is the color of nature and it would be soothing. But most importantly, it was used to control after imaging. If a surgeon was operating on someone and they're looking at blood, you're going to see the complement of that color. And the complement of red is green. So once they look up from the person they're working on, if they see green, Institutional Green is supposed to what's the word I'm looking for?
Like readjust them.
Readjust them, thank you. It's to readjust them to the room.
Yeah, nobody wants that blood.
Right.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. So that's the idea. That surgical theaters were painted green, and from there, hospitals, and then eventually most government buildings were painted in this kind of institutional green, probably because they bought it in bulk and it was cheap.
Right. So 2 questions. It makes me wonder, how did they discover that green could help a surgeon in that way?
I think the idea was they knew that, so for instance, if you look at orange, the after image is blue. It's the complement. So looking at red, for whatever reason, the complement is green. So since they knew that, if they felt if we look up, seeing green will help them adjust quicker.
Excellent. And then my
So they were
follow-up,
aware of this. Yeah.
And then my follow-up question would be, why would all of the other government buildings be painted that? What was going on there that there's a lot of red that they...
Tim, we have 6 trillion gallons of institutional green.
Right.
We're wondering what to do with it.
That's what I'm guessing. They bought it in bulk and it became a very common color.
Could it have anything to do with the fact that, okay, it's green, it's nice, let's make these institutional...
No, that's what I'm getting at.
Oh, that's what I mean. Am I
That's a
talking...
great point. I think the color itself is neutral. I think it's our association with the color that gives it a bad rap. I don't think the color itself is objectionable. It's really just basically like a minty green color. And taken out of context, there's nothing really wrong with it. But my argument that I'm going to make is that our associations with institutional green is horrible. Everything that we associate with bureaucracy and soulless, sterile environments, institutional green represents that. And that is that is going to be my spiel here that I'm going to share with you guys. So I felt the best way to make my case that institutional green is the worst color is by, one would say it's not so much a rant, but perhaps sort of a poetic argument against this color and what it represents. So again, my beef is not so much with the color, but what it represents. And I'd like to do that right now, if you'll indulge me.
Please.
All right. Institutional green is the enemy of humanity. It smells like sweat and unfiltered cigarettes. It is bad lighting, dirty windows, and a dim but constant buzzing. It's bland food served on a plastic tray with plastic utensils and bad, warm orange juice served in a styrofoam cup. Institutional green is ugly and soul-crushing. It takes optimism and idealism and it crushes it under its boot. It is tedious, dispiriting, and apathetic. Institutional green doesn't care about you or your family. It doesn't care if it's your birthday. It is bureaucracy gone berserk. Institutional green is miserable, unsmiling worker drones filling out forms in triplicate that no one will ever read or see. Institutional green is the color of Dante's first circle of hell. It turns human beings into digits to be processed and then discarded. It goes through the motions. It's just doing its job. Institutional green was just following orders. There you go.
Open your mouth. Did you take your meds?
That is my argument. So what I was trying to show you there is, again, it's more the representation of it. You know, this sort of, for lack of a better word, institutionalized world that became underfunded and, you know, uncaring. And, you know, you see it in movies, we read it in books, and it's just this sort of, you know, miserable place that some unfortunate, you know, people have found themselves in. And it's just, to me, it's what it represents. And that's why it's so despised lately. And of course, you know, nowadays hospitals and other government buildings, they stay far away from that color. The question is, I found an article online that is asking, what is the next institutional green? You know, 50, 60 years from now, what will be that color that new generations will sort of associate with, you know, bureaucracy?
Maybe it'll be all colors.
Could be. It could be. But that is my spiel, and I will pass the baton.
Okay.
Over to Pete.
Wow, short, sweet.
I will move on, and this is Scheele's green, S-C-H-E-E-L-E, Scheele, apostrophe S, Scheele's green, the worst color. So basically, Scheele's green is a yellowish green invented in 1775 by Carl Wilhelm Scheele. By the end of the 19th century, it had become quite popular and had replaced some older greens. After around 125 years, approximately 1900, it fell out of use because of its instability of its color in the presence of certain chemicals, tended to fade and blacken, and its toxicity. Oops. So,
I can't believe they got rid of it because of the toxicity. That's usually never a bad thing.
Never happened with Fruit Loops.
Ooh. Someone's still a little touchy.
I am not.
So why was it toxic?
Well, I'll get to that shortly. First, I'll just say it was used in paints, wallpaper, wax candles, toys, and was used to dye cotton, linen, and also was used as a food dye for sweets. Always something you want to do with a toxin. The pigment was originally prepared by making a solution of sodium carbonate at high temperature, slowly adding arsenious oxide, and finally adding that combination to a copper sulfate solution, producing a green precipitate of insoluble copper arsenite. Okay, so...
Was this the same green that was the green shamrocks from Lucky Charms?
Lucky Charms.
From Lucky Charms?
That's why they no longer have...
Well, that makes sense.
So anyway, you may have heard the term arsenite coming out of my mouth, and that means, you guessed it, it comes from arsenic. So we have a little bit of arsenic in old Scheele's green. Yeah. So before its toxicity was known, 19th century journals contained reports of children wasting away in bright green rooms.
Oh boy.
Of
I'm
lady,
laughing at the children by wasting away. Just the specificity of. Is that why now boys are in blue rooms and girls are in pink rooms?
that's right.
Because if you threw them in a green
Well,
room.
Tim did say green's the color of nature.
It is.
And
It is.
what else is natural other than wasting away at some point?
Birth, school, work, death.
Great album. Godfathers.
So good.
Anyway, so I don't want to step on your album discussion.
No, please.
So, also of ladies in green dresses swooning, and newspaper printers being overcome by arsenic vapors. There is one example of an acute poisoning of children attending a Christmas party where dyed candles were burned.
Boy.
They were green, apparently.
It's like a poison potpourri.
Whew. I mean, can you imagine? Can you imagine what that party must have been like?
Well, I'm just before when you said ladies swooning, and the first image that came in mind, like they're being swept off their feet, and that's not exactly what you meant. Oh, I have the vapors.
I don't know how anyone survived the 19th century. I say that.
Seriously, how the hell we all end up
Yeah,
here
it's
tonight?
so true.
Yeah.
Wow. We were delivered by angels, Scott. Angels.
You know, I heard the
Not
first
green
lighter
angels,
was a
though.
stick of dynamite.
Please go on, Pete.
There were a number of wallpaper poisoning events. Two main theories on the causes have been proposed: dust particles caused by pigment and paper flaking, and toxic gas production. Yes, so tiny particles of the pigment can flake off and become airborne and then are absorbed by the lungs. That sounds nice, doesn't it?
Delightful.
Alternatively, toxic gas can be released from compounds containing arsenic following certain chemical processes such as heating or metabolism by an organism, which also sounds lovely. When it comes to, dying, just give me Shields Green and
Get it over with.
maybe one person will die from the, one way and one from the other. And
That's true. That would make a good murder mystery. Like there's 10 people in a room
right.
and they all die in 10 different ways, but the murderer was all Shields Green.
it's like Murder on the Orient Express, right?
Yeah.
All right.
I got to say, Pete, this is fascinating. As you've been talking, I've been looking up Shields Green. And on the one hand, I'm looking at some of these old dresses that women would wear.
gorgeous.
They're
wow.
beautiful dresses. It's like
Yeah,
an
yeah.
emerald color for our
right.
listeners. Shields Green looks like emerald, which is a beautiful color.
It's one of those beautiful colors I've ever seen.
And that being said, someone wrote a book that's called Shields Green. How far would you go to look good? And I guess that's what we're talking about here.
Wow, you're doing a little research for Pete.
know, pretty
I
awesome.
know.
But it's
I do
good.
have mention of a book, but not that one. And we'll have to do color again, for God's sake. Just one other fun fact is that when wallpaper becomes damp and moldy, the pigment may be metabolized, causing the release of poisonous arsine gas. Certain fungi release arsine gas when they are growing on a substance containing arsenic. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
Boom.
So, here's a curious little fact. After its obsolescence as a pigment, it was used as an insecticide.
It kills things really good.
That's the none
They
of
look
this,
real nice.
None of this stuff disappears. By the way, I believe this is correct, that there's more asbestos being made now than there was in the 70s.
Shut your mouth.
Is that an
yeah.
insecticide, or
What's that?
is that an insecticide also? Or?
Asbestos?
Yeah.
No, asbestos. They
Yeah.
used. Yeah. Oh, are they using it as a?
Yeah,
No, they're still using it for what originally
Awesome.
asbestos
Should we
was used for.
break down the wall and let's see what's going on.
We're in
here?
an old, pretty old place. This is probably.
It doesn't look old, but who knows what's behind, the outer layer that we're
True.
exposed
I mean, it's
to.
not Shields Green though, so we're good. I keep on throwing a D on that. maybe that D is for death.
I think so. It only makes
Actually, that
sense.
picture over there has got a little Shields green.
It
think
does.
it does.
It does actually. Yes.
You guys might want to back off a little bit.
And I don't know whose water container.
Dear
that
Lord.
is, but I'm telling you, is this
that's
a
little
setup?
brighter
It's a
than
little
the Shields
brighter.
green.
Yeah, Shields green is darker
okay.
than that. Yeah.
Also, I rarely lick my water bottle. Rarely.
Well, I would have to
you
say
know.
from that description, it's a lot darker.
Yeah. How far would you go to get hydrated, John?
Well, pass another beer over and I'll show you.
Well, the last thing I'm going to say about Shields Green, I'm going to reference this book called Shadows from the Walls of Death. Facts and Inferences, preferencing a book of specimens of arsenical wallpapers.
Oh, Jesus.
Sounds like a Vincent Price movie.
1874 book by blah, 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 blah. The book
So
warns...
literally, this is an 1874 book,
Right.
and it's already talking about the death and the horror, and people are still wearing the dresses.
Yeah, but it looks nice.
It looks nice. There's no difference than what goes on today, right?
Exactly.
How
You're
far would you
100%
go
right.
to look good?
That's right.
As you can tell by looking at me, not very far.
Oh, you look fabulous
Oh,
tonight.
you.
John is playing it safe.
However, in 1874, they did not have Instagram or TikTok to advertise its toxicity. So who knows how people found out? I guess, a certain number of corpses lying.
Bring out your dead.
After the 7th funeral, yeah, you know what? Natalie's wearing a green dress too. Who was it? The other 6 funerals we went to this week all wearing green dresses?
Can't be.
I don't know.
But it's so pretty. How could it be deadly? Oh my goodness. So anyway, this book warns of the... I'm sorry, did you...
I was going to say, as the person eats another tapeworm to say something to fit into their dress.
I went in for a bleed, and next thing I knew...
Oh no, you got some of my lead makeup on my Shields green dress.
Well, the book warns of the dangers of the then commonly used arsenic pigmented wallpaper. The book contains 86 samples of said wallpaper. Due to the dangerous amount of arsenic in the work, of the original 100 copies, only 4 have survived, which are only handled using special safety precautions.
So I'm sorry, samples of the wallpaper are in the
Right.
like
Right. It looks
the
like
book.
100.
stapled in the book.
Right.
Jesus Christ. Was this put right next to the little electron uranium toy that they used to sell in the 50s?
They did sell it, didn't they?
Yeah.
I guarantee when someone goes to handle the book, when they open the door, you hear a because it's hermetically sealed in.
There's all the souls escaping from people who died.
Anyway, that's all I got. Shields Green, the worst color. Ba-da-ba.
I feel badly clapping
Pete.
for that.
Yeah, it's a very
Terrible.
I mean, clapping for certainly the choice and wow, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. We're bringing the kids down out there. So Scott, it's up to you and I to make a choice between those two. I feel that Tim's win with Best Planet last time is gonna be why he doesn't win this time. Although the soul-crushing horrors of institutional green are terrible, the fact that Pete's green is trying to kill us all. I think it's kind of easy. I think it's a pretty cut and dry. Of course, don't cut the wallpaper or dry it, or else it'll poison you. It's kind of dry for me anyway. I think Shields Green took this one.
Listen, Tim's green is just trying to kill your mind, okay? But you don't care about that.
I mean, your soul.
That's true.
right.
Yep.
It's killing your soul.
Well, you're talking about institutional green perhaps deadening one's senses as opposed to Pete's just deadening you. I think is, that's kind of how I see the scales tipping in this case.
I agree with you. I have to go with Shields Green. Are we in agreement on this?
my friend. Sorry, but
that's all right.
He made a very strong case. Nicely done, Mr. P.
Thank you.
Well done.
Nice
Well
job.
done.
I really pushed death right in the foreground.
You really did. It's you know.
Can we go now?
So our first round winner is Shields Green. I'm taking the D out from death because we've had enough of it.
With the death already.
We're going to take a short break. There's going to be delightful music playing. And we will be back with our second half where we see Raw Umber fighting. Hopefully it has the strength to fight all colors. Bum, bum, bum. Be back in a second. And we are back. Yes, a round of applause. Round of applause. So beautiful. All right, I'm going to dive right into this. It is me doing Raw Umber. And I'm going to
How
jump.
bad can raw umber be? Come on.
Oh, it is craptastic. I'm going to begin the Raw Umber by crediting who I stole a lot from this. 2016. Someone named Kelly Grovier. I'm going to name them. I'm going to pronounce their name.
Who has since died from raw umber poisoning or raw umber viewing.
Yes. Kelly Grovier's title of their piece that they wrote for the BBC, it is called Umber, the Color of Debauchery. Umber is a conundrum, a rusty riddle of a color, a cross between the deep redness of blood and the blasé blandness of mud. Umber is a havering hue with a haunting humidity all of its own. Umber's ability to ebb and flow between shades of our interior self and those of the exterior world we inhabit make it the perfect pigment for painters as diverse as Bosch, Modigliani, Titian, I know I said that wrong, and Velázquez. And I'm going to take you through a little bit of this. Of course, we're on a vocal, verbal listening medium, but I'm going to do my best to describe how umber is used and what it conveys.
I want to hear about the horrors of umber.
Here's the thing, Pete. The horrors of umber aren't the gigantic screaming Michael Bay horrors of Shields Green. They're more the dripping on your forehead with little bits of water, a little bit at a time over the years, until there's nothing left of
You
your
have no
reason.
head anymore.
I'm not even talking about that. Let me talk about raw umber. We'll talk about where it comes from, even where its name comes from. We're not sure. So complex a mixture is umber's identity of the inner and outer worlds. Its very name, originally in Italian, terra de ombra, or earth of shadows, is pulled in two different directions. Some maintain the word is merely an echo of an actual location, Umbria, the mountainous region of central Italy, where sometime in the 15th century the pigment was first professionally concocted from soil rich in manganese and iron oxide. Side note, manganese, poison.
I don't think you put enough stress on that, John.
Poison!
That's a Michael Bay color.
That's very
There
true.
you go.
That's very true. Others contend that the color's name is less a geographical allusion and more a mystical designation inspired by the spiritual depths that the pigment enables artists to plumb. One that owes its origin instead to the Latin umbra, meaning shadow. If we mix the two hypotheses together, we discover something closer to the truth, a paradoxical shadowland of a hue, one that binds into a single substance the material grittiness of this world and the immaterial gloom of one that lies just beyond our perception. The use of umber by artists dates back to our earliest image-making ancestors. When did we first see raw umber being used?
Tell me.
I'm about to. If you've ever seen the cave drawings in France, the first time man scratched the surface of the earth
When people
and decided...
people started painting butts, Did I get it right?
No, not in the least. It's when people scratch the earth and try to show on the wall of caves the difficulty, the terror, the absolute humdrum life and death, every single day nature of the way that they live. It is where we first see cave drawings, soil on cave walls. It's a suitable approximation for the auburn fur of beasts. Those beasts that could either kill those who were painting these colors, or their death, meaning that those painters could live another day. Exactly. They added a ruddy depth to more garish pigments when combined on the artist's palette. If we flash forward a few millennia from the Neolithic age to the cusp of the Renaissance, umber begins to come into its own as a subtle aesthetic force, adding a ruddy depth to more garish pigments when combined on the artist's palette. When used during the Renaissance, we come to see these colors. They are exciting. Once again, right, it is the Renaissance. These are exciting colors. They're not mired and moored with the broken, spirited, some of the religious things that were painted back before the Renaissance. No, now there's a time of light. There's a time of deliverance, but still, without a rich assortment of browns to keep things rooted and real, humanism might never have gotten off the ground. Let's talk about our first artist, Hieronymus Bosch. We're familiar with Hieronymus Bosch. He worked on the carnal carnivals of colors, for which he would most be remembered. The famous triptych, The Garden of Earthly Delights, where, of course, we see the horrors of hell. We see all kinds of beasts, often many of them popping out of other beasts in people's highs and pie holes.
Horrific imagery.
Horrific imagery. But that's not what we're going to talk about. Those are garish. They're loud. They're bright. They're blinding.
Are they also ruddy?
Oh, no, they're not ruddy. That's the point. Hieronymus Bosch's Garden of Earthly Delights, these are bright, horrifying, terrifying pictures. There's no use for raw umber there. But earlier, this early Netherlandish master would find himself being seduced by the shabby solemnity of umber years before the Garden of Earthly Delights. Bosch's teasing tondo, or round painting, The Wayfarer, undertaken about 1500, 3 to 10 years before the Garden of Earthly Delights was painted, he captures a limping peddler, overburdened by the wares and weariness of this world. Although the laden figure appears to be heading for a gate that leads to pastoral purity, he looks back in the direction of a squalid house of sin behind him. This structure, from which he may have recently emerged, relies for its sense of shadiness on an admixture of shadowy umber and sickly syphilic ochre.
Ooh, syphilic?
Syphilic.
Oh,
I skipped that gallery. I went straight to the Van Goghs.
That hack. I'll get to him. Caught between the temptations of the flesh and the spirit, Bosch's subject is forever halted in his progress towards salvation by the lures of a debauched world, a paralysis intensified by a pallid gloom of umber that shadows him. He walks out of this carnal filth hole. He stares into the pastoral beauty of the world that he thinks he wants to go to. But what is he officially ultimately drawn to? While looking at a beautiful world, he still looks back at the filth and horror of a bawdy house that can only be painted and shown not only to the viewer's eyes, but to the viewer's sad and sickened soul. And the only way to convey that is with raw umber. Soon after Bosch created this allegory, umber can be found in settling the ambiance of another Renaissance masterpiece, this time at the orchestration of the Italian prodigy Raphael. Then in his early 20s, Raphael's oil-on-wood portrait of Catherine of Alexandria, this gets good, complete around 1507, depicts the 4th century Christian martyr leaning against a wooden execution wheel. a bone-crushing torture device to which Catherine had been sentenced after refusing the advances of the Roman Emperor Maxentius. According to legend, the implement, also known as a breaking wheel, well, that broke the instant Catherine touched it. Catherine was touched by God. She was part of God. Man was going to crush her on a wheel, a torture wheel, what would be known as, after this miracle, a Catherine wheel. She was going to be crushed on that wheel. That painting uses bright, beautiful colors to show Catherine. It shows God. It shows her divinity. But how does it show the horrors, the everyday horrors of torture, of man's futile and horrible existence? It is used, and it is shown to us by Raphael's carefully fashioned, horrendous hoops wood grain by using yellow, azurite, and vermilion. But it is the secret ingredient of umber, newly introduced into the artist's palette, that keeps both the wheel forever about to shatter into splinters at Catherine's touch. And the painting itself, it keeps it grounded and real. The umber wheel is what helps the painting navigate its course through the shadowy realms of suffering and faith. But you're saying, well, that's great, that's the 1500s, who cares? Well, the last time, and really the last time we've seen it, and that's part 2 of what I'm going to tell you about, if we get there. The last time we see raw umber is in the 1920s. No painting in modern art more poignantly reasserts umber's ability to draw us into its mysteries than Amadeo Modigliani's haunting portrait of his lover and muse, Jean Hebertian, a few months before the artist died of tubercular meningitis in January of 20th. 2 days later, he was so depressed, here's your Great Depression. The grief-stricken Hebertian leapt to her own death from a 5th-story window. At first glance, Hebertian's own eerie, eyeless glare, a disconcerting trademark of the Italian artist's expressively inexpressive portraits, give us the uncanny impression of staring at an empty mask, the wearer already having departed. Bracketing the barren countenance and determining the temperature of the space are carefully calibrated modulations of umber, traceable in Hebertian's umber-rich hair and in the curdling golds of the armchair, tinged by the same pigment upon which her life in deathness and death in lifeness is precariously poised. There's only one color that could literally show someone between death and life, life and death, a death that is forced upon her by circumstance, and a death that is finally her deliverance from the death that life had given her. There's only one color that could give that to her.
Shields green?
Feels green.
No. Shields green is a voiceless monster, a dopey cretin, wielding a club, and whatever is near it, it hits. Raw umber,
And then some.
It breaks skulls, it breaks bodies, it creates pestilence and horror. Raw umber. This created a death of the spirit, and it can only show the death of the human spirit.
That's like institutional green.
It is.
They're wetted at the hip.
It is. I'm a little more sassy in my explanation, I'm not going to lie to you. But anyway, it is umber that summons us to a strange space that she inhabits, one that is neither warm nor cold, real nor imagined, remembered nor prophesized. The last part of this is just going to be very quick. We might say now...
I don't believe that one bit.
So why don't we see raw umber? Why isn't raw umber a thing anymore?
I saw it in my Crayola 64 box. It was one of my favorite colors.
Ah, Scott, you might have seen it in your... You're making me dive into part 2, but I'm going to do it now. You might have seen it in your Crayola 64, but you shan't see it anymore. Crayola has actually taken raw umber away. No one wanted it. No one needed it.
All right, very good, John. Very good. That was
Dirty,
apocalyptic.
no good so-and-so.
I kind of really did.
I want to know what you got on that thesis.
Thank you. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I'm not going to lie. I have a good half of that, at least, is thanks to Kelly Kelly Grovier. Thank you wherever you
Speaking of Crayola boxes, do you remember the box of 64 had a sharpener?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Wasn't that great?
It was amazing.
I love that.
Incredibly well
Sharpen
designed.
it right up.
are.
Yep.
Oh my God. Do they still?
I hope so.
You have youngins. Do they have Crayolas?
Not for a long time now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look into that.
So I am done. Hopefully, my future isn't painted in a hue of raw umber. Scott, why don't you give us
Be gone, raw umber.
tonight's fourth and final color, the magic of all colors. Begin, please. I'm intrigued.
Thank you. I have to be honest, guys. I didn't find it easy to select a particular color for this episode of the podcast. Truth be told, I have trouble making decisions, and this is an example of that. So I decided maybe it's just best to clear my head, do a little research. So I looked into colors themselves. Some of this was brought up at the beginning, but I'd like to do a quick review. And if anyone's interested, the American Museum of Natural History, their website, has some great information about what happens when we humans, when we see color. We need to know a little bit more about light to better understand color, and we all need to be prepared for what color does to us. Light is a kind of wave. There are other types of waves, X-rays, radio waves. The difference between any type of wave is the wavelength between them. Our eyes, as John pointed out at the beginning, we can only perceive a very small spectrum of wavelengths, and the visible spectrum itself it's very, very tiny. But each wavelength is a different color. Sunlight, see it every single day. It contains every color of the rainbow. You combine them together, what do we got? We got white light. Way back in the 1660s, Sir Isaac Newton, he demonstrated through the use of a prism that there were actually multiple colors represented in there. Now, as John pointed out, I want to reestablish, because it's central to my premise here for why all colors are the worst, is that when we perceive the color of light, it's that light that is bouncing off of that object. That's what's giving us its color. Okay? At that point, as it's bouncing, as human beings, as living creatures, we have not engaged with it just yet. That doesn't happen until it reaches our eyes. So, as the light comes to us, it passes through the lens, travels to the retina. That's at the back of the eye. Now, as you pointed out, the retina is covered with all of these very, very specific light-sensitive cells. I know we focused a lot on the cones, but I do want to start with the rods, okay? Because it's all of these different cells that detect the light and send signals of it to our brain. The rod cells do the heavy lifting. They're the working class cells, helping us to distinguish between light and dark. In each eye, we have 120 million rod cells, okay? The cones, they're the ones that help us detect color. Each eye has about 6 million cone cells in it.
Nothing. Relatively nothing.
Practically nothing, but so important to today's episode. As we stated earlier, there are 3 different kinds of cone cells. Most of us have all 3 types, and we can see the full spectrum of colors available to us as human beings. There are folks out there that might only have 2, and those people are commonly referred to as folks who are colorblind. They can see some colors, but have trouble distinguishing between others.
This is literally the first time being colorblind has been explained to me.
Yeah, I've never understood it either.
Bravo,
Yeah,
bravo.
Pretty good.
Wow.
Well, we can all thank the American Museum of Natural History for all these wonderful facts.
I don't know. They haven't been knocking at my door, but you did, Scott.
Well, you're very welcome.
Thank you.
So what I learned is that the cone cells are more attuned to certain wavelengths. So you have ones that are more focused on the blues, the greens, the reds. Their combined response to particular light waves coming into them help to produce a very unique signal for each of these colors, and millions of different colors. So essentially each cell, each cone cell is helping us to assemble a different portion of that color that we're taking in. So just to continue with the biological process here, you've got the nerve signals going from the eye. They're sent along the optic nerve. That's where our brain's going to start to get involved. The optic nerve will carry all of these signals from the eye to the visual cortex, which happens to be at the back of the brain. When these nerve signals arrive in the cortex, that's where that's where the colors begin to form. Parts of our brain analyze the colors, their shape, movement, location, and now we start to have conscious perception. That's where it's created. Now, if I may.
Oh, you may.
I'm going to. Here is where the color conversation is going to get quite uncomfortable. We've been referencing books. I happen to bring my book with me. I have this book here called The Secret Lives of Color. The author, Ms. Cassia St. Clair.
And what color does she tend to?
Well, there's quite a number.
She looks a little mauve. If you ask me.
I know our listeners can't really perceive this, but it's lovely. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Tim.
Is she still alive? Because then Shields green is not her color. And does she seem to be crushed by life? Because then raw umber is not her color either.
Well, I tell you what, if I'm lucky enough to make it to the next round, we're going to look up everybody's color in here. How's that?
Ooh.
So maybe a little enticement.
Shields green is here.
Oh, there we go.
Page 224
Okay, it's
to
a real
226.
color. I did not make that up.
Is it a is it a sample of it? Because don't touch the book. If it's a sample, Tim, don't touch the book. No! No, Tim, no!
I remember Tim. He was a good man.
Oh, he was so good.
Now his clothing is just resting on the couch by itself.
Are you done with your beer?
My last one.
It was best then. It's like Logan's Run. When your beer's done, you got to go onto Carousel. There's no reason for him to live. He's gonna get killed. What? When you're 30? Nah, just when your beer's done. So please, I'm sorry.
No, everyone was on a roll. It's great. So Ms. St. Clair, she was into fashion and design, and that's where her fascination with color arose. But I'm going to read to all of you this frightening caption from her book. It says, and I quote, "Different things are different colors because they absorb some wavelengths of the visible light spectrum, while others, they bounce off. We see a juicy red tomato. The tomato skin, it's soaking up most of the wavelengths of light that it comes in contact with. The remainder, the reds in this case, they bounce off, hit our eyes, and get processed by our brains. So in a very real way, the color we perceive an object to be is precisely the color that it isn't. What we see is the section of the spectrum that is simply being reflected away, refused, if you will. This leads to only one logical conclusion. Colors are tricksters, huckster, snake oil salesmen. None of them can be trusted. They're biased all, and that is why all colors, not one, but all, are the worstest. Now let me be clear, because I can already see the wheels turning. Perhaps our audience out there can hear them. We're only perceiving what's being shared with us with our innocent and our wholesome eyes. Colors share with us only those pitiful portions of themselves that are cast off. John, your expression seems to suggest that you're green with envy when listening to this presentation of mine. Well, I don't think so. I see nothing but your Caucasian-colored skin at this point.
Ooh.
And I'll close with this. I look at you, Mr. Pete. I see a beautiful set of eyes. Lovely, sensitive, soulful pools. They didn't get close enough to that raw umber. They're still soulful. But now, for absolutely very first time in my life, I really see your lying irises.
Is that it?
That's it.
Oh, very good, very good.
Wow.
That was very. That explained so much.
Bravo.
I couldn't decide. They all blow.
They ain't good.
Wow.
They all stink. In case you have to cut that other one.
Nah, it's fine.
Okay.
All right.
Pete.
Well, Tim, that really puts us in a position here.
It does. Those are some strong cases there. What are your thoughts?
Well, I have to say, so Mr. Dorsick's, I'm not sure what the,
Indictment?
yeah, maybe, his
Scathing indictment.
his speech was
Full of
was
consternation.
thorough, and it was thorough, and it was a good one. Scott's was also good and remarkably shorter than usual. It was interesting, but it seems is that we see what's reflected as opposed to what's absorbed by the whatever thing it is that's, we're judging the color of.
Scientifically, that's what's happening.
Yeah. Okay. And John, on the other hand, has a strong argument that raw umber represents
Everything soul crushing. Everything, not even deathful. It can be the death of the spirit. And that's the terror. That's the analogy to Catherine on the wheel. It is a body and soul crushing color. Not only does it show that death of the soul, but the argument can be made that it causes the death of the soul.
okay.
It ain't a good color.
Sounds a lot like institutional green. However, I would say furthermore that
I'd say it sounds more like Shields green, where it is a poison. It is a poison, but not a poison from without, but within. I've used that now twice.
Did you notice he added the D back?
death is back in the picture again.
Death is back in the picture, except it is not a pale rider, but it is a raw umber colored rider.
Ooh.
So anyway, I would say,
Nicely done.
based
Thank
on the
you, thank
arguments
you.
presented,
My moments.
that I probably couldn't go against all colors based on the fact that we see what's reflected back to us versus what is absorbed. Because, you got to see something.
I agree. Scott's was very educational,
I agree with that 100%.
but I love purple. I love blue, sky blue. So I can't indict all colors. John's raw umber sounds satanic. And that's very specific. So I'm definitely going to go with raw umber on this.
So there we have it. Though Scott had an excellent argument, we're going to go with the raw umber as the worst,
Fantastic, thank you.
worst of the two.
Thank you.
I tip my cap to you, sir.
I tip mine to you. I'm going to go out on a limb right now and say, although not all colors aren't the worst color, although I think that possibly your presentation was one of the best I've ever heard, and it was certainly enlightening and taught me a lot.
And I
Very
believe your cap
informative.
was bright red, wasn't it? What color is that? Or is it absorbing
It ain't
the
what
red?
you're seeing.
Ah.
That's my point. Well, I will just say that because of my selection, whoever wins, I get a little bit of gratitude from that anyway.
Most certainly. And, another thing that can be said is that, you said no color is actually its color. It's just what is reflected to you. And isn't our own reflection sometimes the hardest thing to look at? Our own voice is the hardest thing to hear. Our own picture that we're not ready to take the picture of. Isn't that picture the worst picture for us to look at?
Decision's already been made, but what I would counter back is when we look at our reflection, I think what we can trust is the perception of the shapes. You don't look like a tall gray when you're looking in the mirror. That's not the image reflected back.
Well, that's if Bigfoot hasn't come through
did that
the
on
portal.
purpose.
And then if the trickster that is Bigfoot comes through the portal right in front of where the tall gray is, you would see Bigfoot. And you could tell he's there by the smell of his scat that he's going to throw at the tall gray. Usually only at the long table. But anyway, if you want to hear more about the tall grays and the Bigfoots and the tricksters that run through all the different ways of living, the multidimensional ways of the Bigfoot, that'll probably be on another podcast.
Stay tuned for the Worstest Trickster.
That is worstest trickster. All colors could be on it. Anyway, we got to go really quickly. There's going to be a little break, and then we will have both of our halftime winners coming back to fight against each other, and finally there will be a Worstest chosen. I have to go and zip into the porthole and mock a Bigfoot. I'll be right back. Listen to some music. Boom! All right, we are back. We are here to figure out who is the worstest. We are going between Shields Green and Raw Umber. Bum, bum, bum. Pete, would you like to take it away with a little...
Only one shall emerge victorious.
That's right.
Only one victory flag will be painted one color.
So I will, I think I have one more thing I can present about Shields Green, aka the worst color. During Napoleon's exile in St. Helena, he resided in a house in which the rooms were painted bright green, his favorite color. The cause of his death is generally believed to be stomach cancer, and arsenic exposure has been linked to an increased risk of gastric carcinoma. And, analysis of samples of his hair reveals significant amounts of arsenic. And as St. Helena has a rather damp climate, it is likely that fungus grew on the walls. What I am saying is Napoleon would have made a third comeback were it not for Shields Green. Thank God for the worst color.
History would have been a lot different without Shields Green.
Shields Green, the worst killer of them all. And as such, I punt to you, Mr. Dorsey.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Do your worst.
Let us dive into the murky and soul-crushing world of Raw Umber. Now, in the last, in our first meeting with Raw Umber, it spilled filth all over our tables, all over our diaries, all over the way we live our lives. The second round, I'm going to show you how Shields Green? Raw Umber
Shields Green on the mind.
I do, because I don't want it to come near me. And I want to send it a thank you note for killing Napoleon. But I don't want to send any thank you note to Raw Umber. So, we said earlier, first of all, Raw Umber doesn't exist anymore, at least as far as Mr. Crayola is concerned. Raw Umber was discontinued in the Crayola world. And of course, if Crayola doesn't believe in you, who can, if you're a color?
That's what's wrong with this universe. We grew up at Raw Umber. They took it all away. Lost all the fun.
It's like Bowie.
It's not the same.
But we'll get to that in a moment. So, as I said earlier, the original pigment, it was poisonous. It's poisonous and dangerous. We haven't seen Raw Umber since the 1920s, really. And why is that? It's kind of fallen out of fashion with the Impressionists, with the pop art, even the Dadaists. Art has become brighter. It's become simpler. And you can have discussions on whether that's better or worse. The art world, you go to the MoMA, go to the Museum of Modern Art, the Guggenheim, the art there is bright. It is brightly colored, primarily colored. Once again, have that discussion whether that's good or not. I know where I stand, but that's not about me right now. None of this is about me. It's about Raw Umber.
Of course.
And so, once again, this world and the art that reflects it is primary. It's bright. It's loud. And why is that? Do not snicker. Do not laugh. Do not shrug your shoulders hoping for more Raw Umber in your life. But the world, as opposed to 100 years ago, is much better. There's less Raw Umber in it. Well, I have statistics for that. Scott is shrugging if you can't see. But the fact of the matter is this. Where we had Raw Umber, whether it was causal or not, Raw Umber was used to show the horrors of the world. And some might say, especially me, that it caused the horrors of the world. But the fact of the matter is, in the past 100 years, the world is objectively better by most key indicators, such as wealth, health, safety, and literacy. But here we go. Global life expectancy has more than doubled in the past 100 years. Extreme poverty has significantly decreased. Child mortality rates have fallen dramatically due to advancements in medicine.
This study was not conducted in Bangladesh.
Well, even in Bangladesh, honestly, even in Bangladesh. I'm going to give you some statistics. Global life expectancy has more than doubled. Child mortality has plummeted, with fewer than 4% of children dying before age 5 today, compared to nearly half a century ago. Poverty, the share of the world's population...
Because we got rid of Shields Green. That's why they're still living.
You've made your case, sir. Let me make mine. The share of the world's population living in extreme poverty has fallen significantly, with fewer than 1 in 10 people living in extreme poverty now, compared to 8 in 10 2 centuries ago. Wealth and prosperity. More wealth has been created in the last few decades than in all of human history before that. Certainly, is it being shared? That is certainly not true, but still, it's being shared more than it was. War, disease, and natural disasters claim fewer lives now than at any point in history. Literacy and information literacy rates have increased dramatically, and technology provides unprecedented access to information.
Can I just reflect on this? You're saying that in 1825, 8 out of 10, wait, was it?
Yes, 8 out of 10 people lived in extreme poverty.
Wow.
Yes.
That's amazing.
It is. A time for raw umber, one might say.
Nothing to do with umber.
And we can go on a whole rights and freedoms, although it may seem like things are, what? Scott is facing me with a rictus grin. Has raw umber gotten to you?
Only because it doesn't exist anymore.
Well, now here's the thing. And now I'm going to answer Scott's rictus grin. And possibly Scott's rictus grin might make my case, certainly wrap it up in a lovely ribbon. We are not ignorant to the way, no matter what side you sit on, that this world is on a precarious shelf. It's about to fall off. Something's going to shatter. We feel that. We're afraid of it. No matter what side, something bad is happening.
We think that from our infinity pools.
And if there's any more significant knell, possibly a death knell, 2 years ago, Crayola reintroduced raw umber.
Oh, no.
And on that waxy, pigmented, sharpener in the back note, I end my debate on what is the worst color. In my humble opinion, raw umber, a color that showed us that life can be crushed and crushing, and it's here and back again. And if that doesn't send a shudder through your spine, you are made of stronger stuff than I, my friends.
Well done.
I'm just going to quickly reply and say, Shields Green, it'll kill you.
So, how best to summarize what we heard in this final round?
Well, they both make
Is it possible,
persuasive
Tim?
arguments. But I have to say, I think what's going to seal it for me is when I read in your book that you brought, The Secret Life of Colors.
Secret Lives of Color.
That Shields Green may have killed Napoleon. And any color that can knock off Napoleon, who was not a good guy and was plotting to come back again, I don't think it could be the worst.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yes, and I gotta be honest.
So Shields Green is your friend.
Ultimately, and it's a pretty color. Those emerald dresses were gorgeous.
Forget about all the countless dozens, nay, hundreds of people it killed.
Well,
Millions.
it didn't really mean it.
I was just being pretty.
Yeah. Raw umber is malicious, though. Raw umber, it symbolized an age where it was just about survival. And there didn't seem to be any joy in it. And getting rid of raw umber, a new age dawned where people could actually have fun and live in color and light. So that was very persuasive, your last spiel there, because I was really on the fence with
Well, you
you
should
guys.
be. I'm not. listen, I'm not going to let the sweet narcotic excitement of winning one of these make me say that Shields green is not a terrible color. It is a terrible color. But I know that sometime in the future my body will die. And maybe Shields green will have something to do with that. But raw umber might destroy my soul years before my body passes.
Scott, what do you think?
Moving on.
Are we though? So I think one of the nice things that MCJD has explained to us is that not so much about his presentation today, but that consensus is an important part of what we seek to achieve here. That being said, I'm definitely on the fence. I think everybody presented terrible colors. And depending on the way the breeze is blowing, I could be pushed to one side or the other. It seems to be irrefutable that Shields green
with a Z.
I want to make a Shields and Yarnell joke, but I mean 7 people are going to get it.
Yes, with a Z and minus 2 Ds.
There you go.
That it is absolutely responsible for the deaths of innocent people and at least one notable not so innocent person.
Yes.
That's true.
And then to hear the other case made about raw umber, it's to be blamed for every single ill in this world, including the loss of my hair, apparently. So,
and it's ugly.
yes.
Raw umber is genuinely ugly. It's ugly.
Well, so again, if we're talking about the perception of the color,
right.
I don't think there's an argument to be made there. It is a less attractive color to the
eye.
To the eye. I might say that's the part of itself that it wants to share with us.
That's right, because it takes in all the good parts.
So right, go ahead. I'm not even going to say how. If Scott,
as we're making our decision, they're going to still be talking over us.
That's very true, Scott. If your premise was that color is a liar, color's horrible, and it takes in what it takes in, it only gives out what it isn't. Then raw umber giving out the worst, most putrid color to you is taking in all the beautiful, wonderful colors. It's literally taking in the rainbow.
All of them.
And spitting out the color of dead souls.
You've nicely encapsulated my losing argument.
Well, you're done now, so I can do that.
So Tim, once again...
Yeah, I think raw umber is the worst, due to the fact that it is objectively an ugly color.
True.
And for what it represented.
But it didn't really kill people. I got a killing color here.
Did you happen to listen in 1920? Some poor lady jumped off of... between tubercular meningitis or whatever.
One versus thousands.
Well, and Shields green might have been in the neighborhood there. It was it was never questioned.
She jumped into a Shields green
I'm not going to fight
pool.
you.
So maybe I can simplify my decision in agreement this way. We have 2 colors that kill in some way, shape, or form. One is much more attractive to the eye, and unfortunately, it happens to be Shields green. So I think we're in agreement.
Okay.
Raw umber it is.
Raw umber is the winner.
Raw umber is the winner.
Congratulations, John.
And Shields green killed Napoleon. Thank God.
Suddenly Pete's going to give me a hat made of Shields green. Hey, good work on winning, guy.
In the shape of one of those Napoleon hats, too.
I
what
regret.
are those things called? Anybody know?
Tricorner?
Tricorner hat, yeah. Yeah, well, Captain Crunch was wearing one of those.
Yes.
There's another word for it. But,
there is, yeah.
But I don't remember it because I lost. But I won this time, and I'm very excited. So there we go, everybody. You now can proudly tell people, I know what the worst color is. And here's my
first... it's back!
And it's fucking back. Raw umber, the worstest color. Excellent. Raw umber. It is. Run to the Crayola 64 pack and buy one. Anyway, let's finish this whole thing up with, of course, bestest. Let's go around the room and say, what is the bestest thing that's happened this week? Once again, something great that happened to you, maybe a song you heard, a movie that you've seen that you want to recommend to people who might be listening. Take it away, Scott. Why don't you grab this one?
Sure. So very recently, I had a wonderful opportunity to go to a show, saw a concert. Happened to be a metal show, but I went with my son. And it was actually something that the two of us thought we'd never be able to do, because the band that we went to go see was System of a Down. They really haven't been a functional musical unit for some time, getting together occasionally to do some arena shows, usually in other parts of the world. But they're on a stadium tour right now, and we saw them, and it was amazing. These guys can still kick it. You know, you listen to some of the musicality. It's not all speed. There's lots of melody in their music, which I love. But really, the kicker was this. During the show, my son was vibrating. And he was like, I never thought I'd get to see them. We did it together. He proclaimed at the end of it that might be the second best show he's ever seen. And he's seen a lot of concerts. So felt great.
Cool.
Felt great. So
Awesome. Tim, what do you got?
My youngest son played at the Jets halftime show with his marching band.
Oh, sure.
Wow.
This Sunday,
all right.
yeah.
wait, was that MetLife?
That was at MetLife.
That's why we saw the show. That's
Yes,
amazing.
Yeah, it was a great game. Jets did lose, but it was a good game, and the band did great. We were very proud of them, and we had a good time.
Excellent.
The Jets lost, huh?
They did lose.
That's weird.
Shocking, isn't it?
It was a close one. It was a close one.
It was close.
I know two things about sports, and the one is that the Jets lose all the time. The other is Doc Ellis and his story, which maybe
Yes.
we'll get to one day.
But it was a good time. We were very happy for him and the band. They all did great.
Tim, tell our listening audience, what does he play?
He plays the bass drum.
Cool.
Ah, very nice, very nice.
Cool.
Good. Pete, what do you got?
Well, I think actually there were a number of good things that happened, but I'm just going to say today I got delivery on a new guitar amp that I bought, and I got a little chance to try it out. It sounds good. I'm pretty happy, and can't wait to play it
What kind?
in front of real live people.
Ah,
I'll play E.
what kind of amp?
I think it's a Boss.
Oh,
I think. I'll get back to you on that.
all right.
I've had it for all of.
Exciting.
What matters is it sounds good.
Yeah, it sounds good. So I'm pretty
Yeah.
happy about it.
Nice.
Just call me Mr. Materialistic today.
There's nothing, it's bringing you joy. It's not like you're sitting in a room full of gold.
Covered with Shields Green.
Don't do that. That'll kill you dead.
Yeah.
Well, any gold you have is because of the raw ember.
That's very true. For me, in 2 days, I'm going to be hosting the Mortified in New York City, actually in Brooklyn, because, we're cool and stuff. As I have for 10 or 12 years. I'm a story producer and a host of the Mortified Storytelling Series. It's people reading their teenage stories as adults in their diaries, songs, whatever it might be. It's really cool. We have a show on Wednesday. I've produced 2 of the pieces. They're going to be great. The show's going to be great. And it's something that just for a decade now has brought me tons of joy. People taking the things that once brought them terror and owning it, getting up on stage in front of a couple hundred people and owning these things that once brought them so much grief and embarrassment, now being able to share with 200 people who also have stuff at home filled with grief and embarrassment. And everyone's just coming together. It's beautiful, it's wonderful, and I'm really excited for it. I'm excited for the pieces that I produced. So, that's it. You've made it to the end of another Worstest podcast. We've made it to the end of another Worstest podcast. If you enjoyed this, and of course you did, like, share, subscribe. You hear people always saying that, but yeah, please do. Like us, share this with people around you, recommend
your
it.
friends.
Tell your friends. Send the link to friends. The less amount of buttons people have to press, the more they do something. So yeah, send a link of the podcast to your friends. Subscribe would be absolutely wonderful. And if you would like to do one other thing, if you're really in the mood, rate us. We love to always make the show better and better and better. And your critiques on us will help us. So write what you like, write what you don't like. You know, give us 5 stars anyway, because that helps us get to the top algorithms and stuff. But if you have something, you know, useful to say to us, please say it. We want to hear it.
And if you happen to have $1 million laying around, feel free to send it.
4 million, because we got to dice this stuff up. Anyway, once again, thank you so much. You're absolutely beautiful. And that's really it. Have an amazing week, and we will see you very soon. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye.